Hi, friends. I'm Scott Giles, minister and hypnotist, and welcome to Power Talk, my video blog where I cover topics that interest me, focusing on how you can use the power of your mind to take control of your life. If you'd like to know more about my professional work or sign up for my free e-newsletter, Power Lines, check out my website, which I'll tag in the description. Well, today I'm turning my attention to the danger one puts oneself in if you let yourself stew in anger, resentment, or indignation. This is a familiar theme for those who know my work. Anger is an emotional response to some provocation. Resentment is when you think you've been treated unfairly. Indignation is when someone does something to you that you believe is blameworthy. These emotions are all more similar than they are different, but they all have the same physiological basis in a hormone you produce when you're having a negative emotional experience: cortisol. I often explain to clients how when one is experiencing a negative emotion, one produces cortisol. Cortisol is intended, evolved, to prepare your body to either flee from a threat or to fight a threat, the well-known fight or flight response. It's important and evolved in order to keep you safe. It's a good thing. But it's one thing to run away from a tiger or to prepare to fight a tiger. In those cases, the physical changes that come when there is cortisol in your blood are useful. Heart rate increases, blood pressure increases because the blood thickens. And that's important so you don't bleed out or exsanguinate, as physicians say, if the tiger claws you. The brain changes as well. Blood flow to your cortex, the outer shell of the brain that you use for higher thought, is diminished and rerouted to the limbic system, which controls emotion and hand-eye coordination. And that's useful if you're going to fight a tiger, and the emotional boost helps your metabolism so you can run away faster. All good stuff in that context of dealing with an immediate physical threat. The problem is that in our civilization today, the sort of threats we face are not those that we can either run away from or fight and be done with it. So all the energy liberated by the cortisol we produce has nowhere to go. The result is that we stew. We simmer in anger. That thicker blood and higher blood pressure predispose us to a heart attack, a stroke, or some other cardiovascular incident. The fact that rational thought has been inhibited while emotions are boosted means that we're prone to emotional reasoning that encourages bad decision making. We stop thinking strategically and practically in a world where strategy and pragmatism counts. Well, in 1985, a psychologist named Harriet Lerner wrote a book that quickly became a bestseller, and it's a book I frequently recommend. It's titled The Dance of Anger and was revised in 2005 and is available in every format. Written especially for women, I find it helpful for anyone who is dealing with darker emotions. Her point is that, rightly understood, anger and similar dark emotions are benevolent. We feel anger when we feel that something is not right or that a boundary important to us has been violated. The dark emotions are like early warning systems that something is going wrong in our world and attention is needed to put it to rights. Knowing that you're angry or resentful or that you're simmering in indignation is important information. But once you realize that you're feeling anger or indignation or resentment, the next step is to ask yourself why. And it may in fact be that you have been treated unjustly. It may be that someone has crossed a line with you, and that means you need to assert yourself to maintain your integrity as a person. You can't go through life righting every wrong, and there are times when you just have to put up with stuff, but often you can nip problems in the bud with timely action. You ask your significant other to stop a behavior that's a problem for you. You decide to say thanks but no thanks to someone flirting with you. You say, we need to talk, to a friend who has done something that you have an issue with. Very often, a small adjustment is all that is needed to put a relationship or a situation back on a good track. So anger is your friend. It tells you that your mind believes something is wrong. You could be mistaken, and you should be open to that possibility, but there is truth to the old proverb that a stitch in time saves nine. Well, knowing that you are angry or resentful or indignant is important information. Acting in anger, resentment, or indignation will almost always get you in trouble because you are reacting, usually without strategy, planning, or self-examination. You need to be sure that your emotions are justified, and they may not be. You could be objectively mistaken about the meaning of what is happening, or you could just be too sensitive and you're overreacting. Now, for some reason, these dark emotions, anger, resentment, indignation, seem to be having a field day in today's world. The passenger on an airliner asked to close the window gets into a fistfight. Road rage incidents end up getting people killed. Someone with a chip on their shoulder shoves someone else at a bar for no good reason. Tempers flare. A lot of people seem to be walking around feeling these dark things. Scientists tell us about something called cognitive plasticity. That is, the brain is always rewiring itself in response to experience. In fact, there's an old counselor saying that nerve cells that fire together wire together. If you experience an emotion a lot, it becomes easier to experience that emotion again. And if that emotion is anger, resentment, or indignation, you walk around feeling that emotion more and more. And that's not good, because your body will send you a bill if you do a lot of that. And over time, your personality will change. Heck, your looks will change. Your face will start to characteristically crease where your facial muscles display that emotion. Some people walk around with smile lines, and it's possible to walk around with frown lines too. And if you do that, people will instinctively start to avoid you because you are trouble and they know it. And it's not just you. If you are negative, that has a trickle-down effect on everyone you interact with. You become a bad boss. You snap at your partner. You take feelings out on innocent others and mess them up. Psychiatrist M. Scott Peck would talk about the loss of civility in our society caused by the fact that so many are walking around feeling righteously indignant. They don't like what's going on, and they've convinced themselves that others are blameworthy and look for ways to take it out on them. Instead of looking for positive solutions to issues, they just create more issues. And we have a combative society. And if you don't think we have one of those, you're not paying attention. So what should a philosophical person do? Well, it seems to me, first, take a breath. And I mean that literally. Breathe. The difference between reacting in anger and responding in a way that could lead to a positive outcome is about 10 seconds. Just don't respond to anything emotionally unless you're in a situation of imminent danger. Sure, jump out of the way of an oncoming bus using fear as fuel. That's fine. But don't take those emotions into your workplace. Second, practice mental hygiene. If you want to stay dry, maybe you shouldn't stand in front of a fire hose. Limit your consumption of news so you don't stand in the stream of negative information whipped up to inspire you to watch it by people who are looking for clicks or viewership. If you have a relationship that keeps producing negative feelings, perhaps it is time to do some weeding in the friendship garden. Don't doom scroll on your phone. Watch kitten videos like I do instead. Take responsibility for your mental life. You wouldn't drive your car recklessly and without maintenance, so don't treat your mind that way. Expose yourself to good things, art, good friends, good music, comedy, good writing. In 1967, the band Jefferson Airplane created a song titled White Rabbit, loosely based on the story of Alice's Adventures in Wonderland by Lewis Carroll. In that song, there is a line, "Feed your head." Some people believe that refers to psychedelics, and maybe it does. When I was in college, you could get in trouble if you played that song in your dorm because it was a drug culture song. But I think it refers to more than that. I read it as advice to pay attention to what you put in your head. What you want to put there is knowledge, humor, things of quality. Hey, thank you for your time and attention today. I'll be back next week with another talk on a different subject. I'd like to invite you to join me. It helps me a lot if you tell others about my videos, so please like, share, and subscribe, and hit the notification bell. If you're wondering if I can be of help to you, feel free to reach out through my website for a free, no-obligation screening call, and we'll talk about it. Have a great week.